Hey everyone, welcome back to What If Animes. So in this video you gonna see, what if Naruto was doing harem for source of power. This is part 1. And if you want more then please hit that like button, don't forget subscribe, so let's getting a video. Enter Namikaze Naruto An. Hi, I'm Bearer of the Light and this is my first story on the site. I hope you enjoy it and all class of criticism is welcomed. Also if you want a disclaimer please go and check my profile page. Now on with the story. Our story starts in a land known as the Elemental Nations. This vast land has multiple villages protected by skilled warriors known as kunoichis. Most females across the Elemental Nations can harness a power known as chakra. With this force the females can enter the Ninja Academy and learn how to become kunoichis, the warriors and protectors of their villages. Now on the other hand the males cannot use chakra, thus most of the time the males are in charge of tending shops, housework, or being guards for the civilian population. Not to say there aren't male ninjas or shinobis, but they are few and rarely seen, and they apply to be shinobis due to having some kind of special ability. The female population is a lot higher than the male population. There are approximately 1 male for every 5 females. Due to this ratio it is not rare to see couples of women getting married and raising children. However, they need to get the help of a man to get said children, since their chakra techniques known as jutsu have not helped in procreating, just in the recreational aspect. Our story starts to unfold in the Land of Fire, the most powerful of the nations, in which resides Konohagakure, the Hidden Leaf Village, the strongest and biggest of the hidden villages, where we can find a little boy, no older than 8 years, laughing happily while chatting with who he sees as his grandmother, the third Hokage Hiruzen Saru. This boy is called Naruto. Naruto may look like an average boy. However, there are some things that makes him special. Naruto is the son of Uzumaki Kushina, the 4th Hokage of Konoha, also known and feared for being the Red Death, decimating armies in matter of seconds. Also, Naruto was part of a big tragedy that happened the very same day of his birth, day that an entity known by the people of the Elemental Nations as the Kyuubi no Kitsune. The Kyuubi attacked and destroyed a large part of Konoha and killed most of the kunoichis who went and tried to stop it. It wasn't until Kushina and her husband Minato Namikaze, a shinobi with ability with special seal scrolls, went and confronted the beast that they were able to stop its trail of destruction at the cost of their own lives. Minato dying due to the amount of energy that he had to put in the seal, and Kushina due to injuries that the beast gave her. And so the beast was sealed in their son Naruto. Due to the nature of the beast, it could not be sealed into an object or any person. It could only be sealed into someone of the Uzumaki family. Reason of this was unknown to the people of Konoha. After the battle, the body of Minato was found along with Kushina, who was on the verge of dying, and despite the doctor's best efforts she died, but not before saying her last wish, that her son was to be treated as a hero for keeping at bay the beast that almost destroyed Konoha. This wish was mostly honored. Most of the kunoichis knew who Naruto's parents were, while the Kushina was a beloved leader and was respected by all of the people of Konoha. Minato was one of the most desired men among the females of Konoha and even other places that knew him, and since Naruto had inherited the looks of his father, the young boy was very popular among the kunoichis, who were delighted to look after him and spoil him with candy, toys and all kinds of affection. When the Hokage announced who the little baby was after the attack and that she was going to put him into an orphanage, all the clan heads almost went on a rampage, and so the boy was taken in by the clans, going from one clan to another based on a schedule that was negotiated between them. Of course there were some issues with the civilian council, but they were quickly overruled by the Hokage, stating that this was a good way to protect Naruto while increasing the good relations between the clans. Speaking of the civilian council, they were composed mostly by males representing the civilian side of the population, and they were not happy with the presence of Naruto. While the kunoichis had a good understanding of the nature of the seal and held a lot of affection and respect for the parents of Naruto, the men could only see the beast that took away their homes, their wives and other loved ones, and so they went their way to try to make the worst for the boy. The first attack on Naruto went horribly wrong for the attackers. Some men planned and hired a kunoichi from another village to try and capture little Naruto when he was 5 years old, so she tried to capture him while he was returning home from the playground. What the kunoichi didn't count on was that Naruto was under the charge of the Hyuga clan that day, and as fast as she went to take the boy she had several Hyuga hot on pursuit. It didn't even took 5 minutes to have her captured and waiting to get interrogated. After this incident that had 3 council members executed and other 2 on the watch list, Naruto was more than a little scared of what had happened and started asking questions. His parentage was revealed to him, but the fact that he had the Kyuubi sealed inside of him was still a secret. The Hokage had made it so that no one could talk about the sealing to nobody that wasn't aware beforehand or risk execution. This was to prevent the younger generations be corrupted by the hate of the males against Naruto. This didn't stop the men from trying to take vengeance against Naruto, they just became more careful with the way they did it and also wary that there were no kunoichi around. The abuse against Naruto ranged from hateful glares to accidental pushes that ended with a little Naruto crying on the floor and bleeding from some wound due to the fall. Besides this, Naruto was a loved and cared child of the village. The incident with the assassin forgotten by his young mind. "Well Naruto, I'm afraid this is as long as I can play with you for today," said the Hokage with a sweet tone to the kid in front of her. "OWWW, really? So soon?" pouted Naruto, causing the Hokage to giggle a little. "I'm sorry Naruto, but I must go back to doing this accursed paperwork. I have told you this before, I'm the Hokage, so I must take care of the village's needs." Yeah, I know, but I will be so bored." Naruto pouted even more. "Don't worry, it will be just a little while before Sume-san comes to pick you. I will play with the puppies," said Naruto, excited and bouncing a little, causing the Hokage to laugh at his antics. "Well, be a little patient and she will be here soon." "Okay Oba-chan," said Naruto with a sad tone. Now Naruto was anything but a patient kid, always bouncing around full of energy and curiosity. So losing his little amount of patience, he said that he needed to go to the bathroom. The Hokage smiled to him and continued to do her paperwork while he exits the room, but didn't went to the bathroom. He went outside of the tower in the direction of what he believed was the playground to see if he could find his friends and play for a while, just to realize he got lost and started to sob a little. This attracted the attention of some people, a group of men that hated him. This and chapter 3 were actually the same chapter, but I split it in 2 so I wasn't so heavy to read in one go. But I will upload them at the same time anyway, so read them as you like. Anyways, enjoy. It was approaching night and we could see someone getting near the gates of Konoha. As the person got closer, the kunoichis guarding the gate could see it was a young man. However, they could see it was not a normal young man. The first thing they could see was the way he was dressed. Well, dressed was no the appropriate word, since he was wearing a suit of armor, a golden chest plate which seemed to be a little dirty, making it look like a really dull orange. He was also wearing armored pants in the same shade. On his back a brown mantle that reached just after his knees, and over it a round shield, big enough to cover all the man's arm length, in the same shade as the rest of the man's armor. On his head a very peculiar helmet. In the kunoichi's opinion, from the man's front it looked like a diadem, but it covered the man's forehead and his entire scalp, and on the sides of his head what looked like chainmail covered all the way until it blended with his armor. While none of the man's hair could be seen due to his helmet, the rest of his face could be seen by the kunoichis. On his hip was also something that the kunoichis thought to be a little strange, a hammer, short enough to be wielded with one hand, had a handle wrapped in leather, while the head looked to be made with the same material as his armor. While they thought he was a good-looking man, what really caught the kunoichis' attention were his eyes. They were pure white eyes with no iris and no pupils. The man said what the kunoichis thought to be a greeting while removing his helm to reveal his raven black hair and a smile, reaffirming the kunoichis believed that he was a good-looking man. The man kept on talking to them, but they could only look at him in confusion since the man talked in a language unknown to them. Seeing that the girls in front of him seemed lost to what he was saying, the man closed his eyes in what the women thought to be thinking. After a moment of silence, the man opened his eyes. "Hello? Can you understand me now?" said the man to the guards, who gave a sigh of relief. Yes, we can, stranger," responded one of them with a smile. "Oh, thank Odin. I am new around this place and I never used this language before." The man laughed a little embarrassed. "You have never speak Japanese before?" said the other women in a surprised tone. "No, I haven't. I can do it with a little device of mine," said the man with a grin. "Now, as I was saying before, you could understand me?" said the man with a joking tone, making the women giggle a bit. "My name is Ragnell Dawnbreaker and I would like to have access to your town of Konoha." "Well sir, I need to see your papers and also know the reason of your visit." "Well, the reason of my visit is to speak with your leader, the Hokage I think it's called, and also for personal reasons which may involve a more permanent stay in this town," Ragnell said in a very formal tone. As for my papers, I think this will do. Then the man out of thin air, the guards thought, got a set of papers which he gave to the guards. The women looked a little suspicious of this but looked at the papers anyway, then looked surprised, and one of them asked, "This is a passport signed by the fire daimyo himself. How do you have this?" "Well, the daimyo is a good friend of my father, so when I came to this land I looked for him first. The daimyo and his samurais do know how to speak Norse, however. Well, after our talk he gave me this papers and told me to come here to Konoha and look for the Hokage and that she would help me with my situation." "I see. Well, the papers looks to be in order, so we can grant you access, but I don't think the Hokage would be at her office this late, so you will need to wait until tomorrow to make an appointment," one of the guards said to Ragnell, causing him to frown a little at this. "Well, it's not a problem, to be honest, if you would be so kind in telling me the directions of a place where I can spend the night." After a little chat, Ragnell started going in the direction the kunoichis gave him, just to stumble into a scene that made his blood boil. A group of men kicking, punching and screaming at a little kid who was crying on the floor. Seeing this, Ragnell quickly took the shield out of his back and wielded his hammer, running to the men. "What is the meaning of this?" screamed Ragnell to the men, making them look at him in confusion. They were not worried because he was a man and not a kunoichi. "We are just teaching this little demon over here a lesson now, either joins us or join him in the punching session," said one of the men, not even bothering to stop kicking the kid, making Ragnell furious at the man. "Stop this foolishness at once or I will be forced to stop you," Ragnell said defiantly, making all the men stop and start circling him. "Well, bring it on, kid. Let's see what you got," said one of the men, who had a pipe in his hand and used it to swing at Ragnell, who didn't even bother to use his shield. Instead, in a show of speed, just sidesteps and drove his hammer into the man's stomach, causing him to fly across the street and crash against a wall. Meanwhile, on the Hokage's office, a woman with wild brown hair and red lines at each cheek and the Hokage herself were frantically yelling at each other. "That child! Where the hell could he have gone? He knows he can't go away without someone watching him," said the Hokage, almost yelling in anger and worry. "He can't be so far away, Hokage-sama, he must be somewhere near," the woman said to the Hokage while she was giving instructions to a couple of Anbu ninjas to start searching for Naruto. "I know, Sume-san, it's just that it's really late and who knows what could happen to him if he happens to stumble in a bad place. I need to go search for him. Sume-san, please come with me." "Of course, Hokage-sama," said Sume while following the Hokage, who was running ahead of her. "Are you okay, little one?" asked Ragnell in a gentle tone to the kid crouching in front of him, who looked at him with big surprised eyes. "Thank you very much, sir," said Naruto in a pained tone, a busted lip and pain in all his body, making it evident that he was in a very bad shape after what happened with the men. Speaking of the men, a couple of them had escaped, but the ones who remained were there because they were unconscious and inside of some crater with the shape of their bodies. At this scene, the Hokage arrived. After giving a look at the stranger and the shape that Naruto was, she screamed at them, making Ragnell lift Naruto with his shield arm, holding him close. "If you wish to hurt this child, be gone of suffer the wrath of my hammer," Ragnell yelled while pointing at the Hokage with his hammer. "No, sir. She's my Oba-chan," yelled Naruto at Ragnell, making him drop his offensive stance and placing Naruto on the ground. "Oh, I see," Ragnell said while Naruto ran at Saru while she hugged him and yelled at him for running away while Sume was doing the same. "And then they started to hit me and yelling things at me, but then this sir came and hit the bad men with his hammer and saved me." Naruto was happily telling the events that happened to the Hokage, who looked at Ragnell. "Thank you very much, sir. You have done me a great favor by protecting this kid. Had you not arrived in time, who knows what kind of damage could these people done to Naruto. I am Hiruzen Saru, Sandame Hokage of Konoha," she says to Ragnell in a very pleased tone. "Oh, you are the Hokage? Pleased to meet you, Lady Hokage. My name is Ragnell Dawnbreaker." "Dawnbreaker? Now that's a name that I haven't heard in quite some time," said the Hokage in a surprised tone. "Now, Ragnell-san, I would like to have a chat with you after we take Naruto-kun to the hospital to treat his wounds." "Oh, if you don't mind, I can take care of that." "Heal," said Ragnell while putting his hands over Naruto's head. His hands covered in a bright white light for a moment, and the Naruto's wounds seemed to disappear as if nothing had happened to him in the first place. "Wow, it doesn't hurt anymore, Ba-chan," said Naruto happily while Saru was awed at this interesting skill that you have, Ragnell-san. "Oh, that? It's a basic healing tech, nothing too impressive to be honest, said Ragnell with a little grin. Well, now all that remains is taking care of the thrash. Sume-san, can you please gather this things, said the Hokage while looking at the unconscious men with disgust. And I will send a squad of Anbu to take them to the T&I in a while. Of course, Hokage-sama, said Sume while lifting one of the men and throwing him without any care on the side of the road. Well, Ragnell-san, now if you follow me we can talk more privately in my office. The Hokage then started walking to the tower with Ragnell and Naruto following her. Once again I want to say thank you for saving Naruto, Ragnell-san, said the Hokage while looking at Naruto who was sleeping in one of the couches of her office. Think nothing of it, Lady Hokage. It's against my code of honor to do nothing in presence of that situation. However, I must ask, what has little Naruto done to be receiving such treatment from the people of this town? Asked Ragnell to the Hokage, who frowned a little at this. I'm sorry, Ragnell-san, but it's something I can't tell you. I will only tell you that it is because of a burden that he has to carry and the hate of the men of this village that can't see past it, the Hokage said with a very sad tone. Does it have anything to do with the untold amount of mana that is sealed inside of him? Asked Ragnell as if stating the most obvious thing in the world. What do you know about that? Asked the Hokage in a surprised tone. Well, my beholder eyes let me see a lot of things, Lady Hokage. One of that things is energies. And I can see that little Naruto has a lot of mana sealed inside of him, said Ragnell while pointing at his white eyes. So you have some kind of bloodline, Ragnell-san asked. The Hokage, a little curious since it is well known that men can't inherit bloodlines. Bloodline? Do you mean a blood curse? Asked Ragnell, a little confused. After a little chat, Ragnell and the Hokage came to the conclusion that a bloodline and a blood curse were pretty much the same, with the exception that the blood curse could be inherited by anyone regardless the gender. Well, so these eyes of yours let you see that there's something sealed inside Naruto-kun? Well, pretty much the only thing I can get by my eyes is that it is a very, very large amount of mana with a malicious nature, which makes me believe that you sealed an ancient apparition inside of him. Say what? The Hokage was only getting more confused by the moment. Ragnell then proceeded to explain the nature of ancient apparitions to the Hokage, how they are entities whose body were made by raw energy and had maleficent natures that drove them to attack the people. Well, Ragnell-san, what's sealed inside Naruto-san? It's pretty much the same. We call them Biju and there are 9 of them in the elemental nations. The one that's sealed inside Naruto-kun is known as the Kyuubi, the strongest of all the 9. And let me guess, none of your techs or weapons could hurt it, and so you had to seal it inside a baby. Said Ragnell as if stating the obvious. Well, yes, Ragnell-san, that's exactly what happened. How did you know? Asked the Hokage. The man in front of her didn't stop of surprising her. Well, you see, Lady Hokage. Back in Rune Midgard we had to deal with beasts of the same nature, none of them with the amount of energy I feel coming from Naruto. However, there were 3 ways to stop them. First, we could attack the beast with the same kind of energy that the beast was made of. Option unavailable to you since everyone I've met so far in this land has chakra energy. The second option would be using a psych disruptor to break the body of the beast. However, this causes the beast to reform after a while, and well, I don't think you know any psych tinkers, do you? Asked Ragnell, receiving a shake from the Hokage's head. Finally, the third option was the one you used. Use seals to imprison the beast inside someone's body, so that the beast can be purged at a later date. So you have heard of Jinchuriki before? Asked the Hokage, surprised that the man who came from another land said that the same method was used there. Jinchu what? Asked Ragnell, who seemed confused. The people with bijus sealed inside of them. Oh. That's what you call them. Well, we don't have a name for the people with that kind of seal in them, since most of the time is only a couple of years before the beast is purged and the person returns to normal, said Ragnell, causing the Hokage to go wide-eyed. So in your land the biju could be killed? Well, I would not say killed. It's more like absorbed. And could Naruto-kun absorb this mana from the Kyuubi? Asked the Hokage with a little of hope in her voice. Well, many factors are in play when it comes to this. I have to study the nature of the seal and the nature of Naruto's own energy. But Naruto is a boy, he has no chakra. Said the Hokage, a little disappointed at what Ragnell was saying. It doesn't matter, he could have any other energy. What do you mean, Ragnell-san? Well, he could have psych energy, or maybe prana. If we are lucky, he has a mana circuit like the beast and the absorption will be easier. The Hokage looked lost through all of this, and Ragnell explained her of the 4 different energies around the world. He didn't bother to talk about chakra since she could teach him a thing or two about it, so he started with the mana. While chakra was an energy that bends the elements to have the desired effect on a jutsu, the mana was the same except all the contrary. The mana forced the elements to do the will of the tech user. The prana, also known as ki, is an energy centered in the physical aspect of the body. Another of its characteristics is that most of the time it has no element and it is mainly used to increase one's fighting abilities. Things as shooting orbs and beams are also part of things that prana is used for. The psych energy is, in the words of Ragnell, the most versatile and dangerous of the energies. Since the energy's nature comes directly from the mind of the user, the uses of this energy are as varied as the personalities of the people that use it. Ranging from creating objects to reading minds to affect the will of other people, the psych is incredibly useful since it's said that a psych user can defeat any enemy with a different energy thanks to the objects fabricated with this energy. The Hokage listened to all of this with wonder in her eyes, and looking at Naruto she asked Ragnell, "Do you think that Naruto-kun has any of these energies you talk about?" "Of course, Lady Hokage, one thing is for sure. If you are alive you have an energy. It is just a matter of knowing how to unlock it." "And how do we know what kind of energy does Naruto-kun have?" "Well, tomorrow, when he's awake, I could perform a scan on him. Usually a single look with my eyes would do the trick, but the amount of energy that the beast has is blocking my vision of his system." "I see. Well, Ragnell-san, returning to the matter of your visit, you said your name was Dawnbreaker. Any relations with Ragnar Dawnbreaker?" asked the Hokage. "Oh yes. Ragnar was my grandfather. Did you knew him, Lady Hokage?" Yeah, I knew him." The Hokage giggled while her eyes got a faraway look and a trickle of blood ran down her nose. Ragnell coughed a little, getting the Hokage's attention. "Also, your eyes are the same as him. He never told me he had that kind of ability. Tell me what happened to him." Ragnell had a sad look in his eyes. "Well, Lady Hokage, he died and was taken to the Valhalla during the Ragnarok War." The Hokage looked ready to cry while she and Ragnell took a moment of silence in respect of the fallen. "You see, Lady Hokage, that is the reason I'm here. During the Ragnarok War, the most powerful wizard of the kingdom unleashed the ancient apparitions named after the beasts of the tales Fenrir, Jormungandr and Nidhogg. At the end the beasts destroyed everything. No one in Rune Midgard survived. I searched for months and didn't find a soul in all the land." "Oh, Kami-sama," said the Hokage in a horrified tone. "How could such beasts destroy an entire country like that? But how did you survive? And what happened to the beasts?" "Well, remember the methods of getting rid of the apparitions that I told you earlier? I discovered them. I managed to destroy Jormungandr. I could disperse Nidhogg and sent his fragmented energy into Oblivion Realm. However, Fenrir proved to be too strong for me, so I used an array of runes to seal it inside me and then I absorbed it." The Hokage looked in wonder at the man before her. He just told her that he fought 3 Biju-like creatures and took them down. Just how strong was this young man? "So after all this happened to me and I found no survivors, I started wandering the world learning all I could about the other energies in the world. I come from Rune Midgard, the land of mana, and I have already gone to learn about the prana and psyche, so this is my last stop. I remember my grandfather telling me tales about this land, and I have met kunoichis before when the daimyo came to visit my father, so I knew the existence of the chakra energy. However, besides how it looked, I know nothing about it." "So you came here to learn more about chakra then?" "Yes, I planned on living here for a while to learn more, if it's not a bother. And now I can help little Naruto to discover his own energy well. After today's events are spread to the kunoichis, I think you'll find yourself more than welcome to stay, since most of the females think of Naruto-kun as the son of the village, so you are more than welcome to stay here. However, I would like to assess your skills to see if you can be a part of Konoha's military. Fighting is what I do the best, Lady Hokage." "I would like that, thank you very much," said Ragnell with a smile. At that moment one of the Anbu entered the Hokage's office. "Hokage-sama, Sume-sama is here to see you. Should I let her in?" The Anbu, acting as the secretary who had gone home a long time ago. "Yes please, Neko-san, let her in." The Anbu just saluted and left in a swirl of leaves. "Sume-san. Excellent timing. I was just going to call for you to take Naruto-kun to your home. Since no one had taken him there, I assumed he still was with you, Hokage-sama." "Oh, you're the one that helped Naruto-kun. Please let me say thank you for what you did," Sume said, turning to Ragnell, who just smiled and gave a polite nod to her. "Actually, Sume-san, I was wondering if you were able to give Ragnell-san here a place to stay for the night." Tomorrow we are going to do something with Naruto and I want him to be close to do it, explained the Hokage to Sume, who looked at Ragnar with a smile. Of course Hokage-sama, it's not a problem. It's the least I can do after today, thank you very much Sume-san, said Ragnar with a smile. Sume picked up the still sleeping Naruto from the couch and started heading to the Inuzuka compound, followed by Ragnar. After that day Naruto's life started changing in a way he never imagined before. Naruto awoke with the sun in his eyes. He tried to cover himself with the blankets to get a little more sleep, but then he remembered what happened the last time. He almost jumped out of the bed in a panic state because he didn't recognize where he was and a voice called out to him, "Oh. Naruto-kun, you're awake already? I was just going to call you to the breakfast. Are you okay? You look a little scared." The voice belonged to a young girl with long brown hair tied in a ponytail with 2 locks framing her face. She also had 2 red markings on her cheeks, Hana-chan. Naruto called at the girl with relief that he saw someone he knew. "Am I in your house?" "Yes, Naruto-kun. My mom brought you here last night along with a man? Ragnar-san is here too?" If Ragnar is the man with the armor and the big shield, then yes, he's here. Both he and my mom are in the kitchen, so wash your face and come quickly, okay Hana-chan. Naruto said happily while he jumped to the bed and ran to the bathroom to wash himself. When Naruto got to the kitchen he was greeted by Sume and Ragnar, who were speaking at the table along with Kiba, son of Sume and one of the few boys that Naruto had befriended since he mostly had female friends. After finishing breakfast Ragnar asked Naruto to stay at the table to have a chat with him while Sume and Kiba went to tend the dogs. Just because Kiba couldn't be a shinobi it doesn't mean that his mom would let him slack. "So Naruto-kun, how are you feeling today?" asked Ragnar in a gentle tone. "Very good Ragnar-san, that thing that you did yesterday to me made it like nothing had happened to me." "Are you a kunoichi Ragnar-san?" asked Naruto in a curious tone, causing Ragnar to laugh at his question. "Well Naruto-kun, first of all in a male so the correct term would be a shinobi I believe, but to answer your question, no, I'm not any kind of ninja. But you did a thing with your hand like a ninja and suddenly I was good." "How did you do it?" "Well Naruto-kun, I'm a warrior from the Guardian class. We have abilities that let us protect our allies and take down our enemies. The heal tech that I used is one of the skills of the many branches of the Guardian class." Naruto looked at Ragnar in awe and asked in a timid voice, "Ragnar-san, you think I could become a guardian like you?" Ragnar looked surprised when Naruto asked this. "Naruto-kun, why would you like to be a warrior like me?" asked Ragnar, curious to the reasons that the boy could have. "Well Ragnar-san, I always hear stories about my parents and how they lived to protect this village and how they gave their lives to save us from the Kyuubi, and I've always wanted to be like them, but when I asked Oba-chan she said that I could not be a ninja because I'm a boy, but I've always wanted to be able to protect the people like Oba-chan and Sume-san, and all the others have protected me, like you did yesterday Ragnar-san. That's a really noble reason that you have Naruto-kun, and I'm sure your parents would be proud of you," he said while he put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto could only smile with watering eyes in the memory of the parents he never knew. "Now Naruto-kun, I should be able to help you with your dream. It's just a matter of doing a few things to see if I can train you. However, you need to have in mind one thing Naruto-kun." Ragnar looked at Naruto in the eyes and got a serious tone in his voice. "The road of the Guardian is one of self-sacrifice. You can't allow yourself to be selfish and you must always think of the others around you before yourself. I know you are a little too young to fully understand this, but once you start there's no going back. Are you sure this is what you want Naruto-kun?" "Of course Ragnar-san. I will do whatever it takes Datbeo," said Naruto with what he thought was a serious tone, and Ragnar could only smile at the boy's enthusiasm. "Okay, so we only need to look for Lady Hokage and we'll get started." Ragnar got up the table and gestured Naruto to follow him. And so Ragnar, Naruto and Sume went in the direction of the Hokage's tower. Once there they talked to the secretary who said she was expecting them, and after announcing they had arrived told them to come in the Hokage's office. "Ragnar-san, Naruto-kun, good morning." "Sume-san, it is good to see you too, but why are you here?" asked the Hokage, curious to the Inuzuka's matriarch presence. "Well Hokage-sama, after yesterday I want to keep a closer eye on Naruto-kun while he's on my watch. Also, even if he did saved Naruto-kun, I cannot fully trust someone I met a couple of hours ago," thought Sume to herself. "Fair enough Sume-san. So Ragnar-san, have you and Naruto-kun talked about what we are doing today?" We were talking this morning. Lady Hokage and Naruto-kun has told me that he desires to be a warrior to help this village and its people. So if you allow it, I would like to help the boy while I live in this village, said Ragnar, making the Hokage start thinking. I had only planned for Naruto-kun to absorb the Kyuubi so that he could get rid of the seal, not for him to become a warrior. This might raise some issues, thought the Hokage. Ragnar-san, I'm not sure if I can allow that. Most of the women of the village are very protective of Naruto-kun. Training him to be part of our military will raise protests and things that just thinking about them gives me a bad headache, said the Hokage, not wanting to face the wrath of all the clan heads. But Oba-chan, yelled Naruto. You always tell me I can't be a ninja because I'm a boy. This is my chance to help you all protect Konoha. This is my chance to be a hero like my parents, said Naruto, his voice taking a sad tone at the end. The Hokage could only give a sad smile at the boy. She and Naruto have already discussed this in multiple occasions. They always went nowhere due to the fact that Naruto was a boy and thus had no chakra, but this time it was different. You really want this, don't you, Naruto-kun? Said the Hokage to him while he looked at her with hope in his eyes. I could let you, but I don't know how we are going to convince the council. Well, Lady Hokage, I might be able to help you with that, said Ragnar, taking the attention of everyone in the room. Do you remember the skill test that I was going to take that you told me yesterday? You could invite the counselors to see the test and I will use some of the skills that I will teach Naruto-kun and then you can take a decision. Are you aware, Ragnar-san? Should you not make it through the test, you could not only lose the chance to teach Naruto-kun but also the chance to further explore this energy of his, said the Hokage with a pointed look to let Ragnar know she was talking about the Kyuubi. I am very aware of this, Lady Hokage, but I have confidence that my skills will let me surpass whatever challenge you put before me. I don't know half of what you both are talking about, but you say are going to train Naruto-kun? Asked Sume in an alarmed tone. I'm sorry, Ragnar-san, but you are just a man. I don't know what kind of skills you might have, but you can't possibly compare to a kunoichi of Konoha. If you think I can't, Sume-san, then you should wait till the test to see the result, don't you think? Said Ragnar with confidence in his voice. I agree with you, Ragnar-san, said the Hokage, surprising Sume. By the way, the test will be later on today's evening. Are you okay with this, Ragnar-san? It is not like I have anything better to do, Lady Hokage, said Ragnar with a chuckle. Very well, Ragnar-san. Now let's get on to business. How are you exactly going to perform this scan you told me yesterday on Naruto-kun? It is very easy, Lady Hokage. I will just send a wave of my own energy through Naruto's body and then it's just a matter of mapping his energy system. I know the maps of all the energies except for the chakra, but since you said he doesn't have that, it shouldn't be a problem, said Ragnar while Sume and Naruto looked lost. Through all of this, now Naruto-kun, said Ragnar while crouching in front of Naruto, this may tingle a little bit but I need you to stay as calm as possible, okay? Said Ragnar while putting his hands around Naruto's head and they took a white glow. He, it tickles, said Naruto, trying to remain as still as possible. Ragnar's hands were still glowing for a moment and had his eyes closed while the other two kunoichis just stared in curiosity and worry at this. After a few minutes the glow faded from Ragnar's hands and he opened his eyes and smiled to the Hokage. It seems we are in luck, Lady Hokage. Naruto has a generator mana circuit, said Ragnar while the kunoichis just stared at him, lost to what he just had said. Seeing that he had confused all the people in the room, Ragnar proceeded to explain. It means that Naruto-kun here is like me. The mana circuits comes in two types, the drawer and the generator type. The drawer type, it's called like that because it draws the mana from some source, be it a relic or the ley lines that run across the earth. This kind can learn very peculiar abilities like stealing the energy from enemies, but have the disadvantage of having very little amount of skill usage since they can burn the circuit really easily by drawing too much energy. On the other hand, the generators, like Naruto-kun and me, have a set reserve of mana that our bodies generate without the need from an external source, and our reserves increases the more we use our mana. However, once our reserves exhaust, we can't use any more mana until we get a good rest, and we naturally spend more mana on text than the drawers. So, what you are telling me, said Sume, trying to understand what Ragnar just explained, is that you and Naruto-kun have something that is like chakra and can use it for jutsus and stuff even though you are both males? In my land they are called texts, but it's something like that, Sume-san, said Ragnar to Sume. If that's the case now I'm really looking forward to this test Ragnell-san. Sume said, still in shock to what she had just learned. Nay Obaa-chan, can I go too? I want to see the cool things that Ragnell-san is going to teach me, said Naruto excited to the Hokage. I don't see why not, Naruto-kun. And you can help me convince the council if things go south, thought the Hokage to herself. Now please Sume-san, take Naruto-kun to your house and I will send a ninja for you at the time of the meeting. Ragnell-san, please stay. We have some matters to discuss privately. Very well Hokage-sama, said Sume while taking Naruto with her. The boy just said goodbye to the Hokage and Ragnell and followed Sume. Once they leave, the Hokage activated a privacy seal on the office and took a serious look on her face. So Ragnell-san, you think Naruto-kun would be able to get rid of the Kyuubi? Yes, Lady Hokage, as I said before, we are really lucky, not only because he had a mana circuit but because he had a generator one to boot. So I take that it is something good, really good, Lady Hokage. As I explained before, this kind of circuit runs with a reserve, so once Naruto-kun absorbs the beast, his own reserve will be amplified by the amount of mana he absorbs, so he will have a reserve that I can't even compare to. However, it will take some time to him to fully absorb the beast. We don't want his circuit to burst now, do we? So approximately how much time are we talking about? I'm not sure, Lady Hokage. I still have to study the nature of the seal, but since you said Naruto-kun doesn't know about the beast, we will need to tell him for me to study the seal. Yes, that's what I'm worried about, said the Hokage with a frown. Do you need to study the seal in case you start training Naruto? Honestly, it would not matter. Even if I could study the seal, I would not rush the absorption so that Naruto could develop his own natural reserves, which right now they are nothing to boast about, said Ragnell to the Hokage, who gave a sigh of relief. That calms me a bit, Ragnell-san. I don't know how Naruto-kun will take the news and I want to wait until he is a little more mature to tell him. I want him to be able to understand what really happened and why it happened. I think it would be really terrifying for a boy his age to learn that the beast that almost destroyed the whole village is sealed inside of him, you know. Yes, I can see what you mean, Hokage-sama. Well, Ragnell-san, now all that we need to do now is get you ready for your test. I will call an Anbu to take you to the place where the test will take place while I will get ready to deal with the clan heads. Now shall we? Said the elder woman, getting up from her chair, motioning Ragnell to do the same. After you, Lady Hokage, said Ragnell while both of them leave the office. Why would Hokage-sama call for a meeting? And here of all places, it's such a drag, said a black-haired woman who was resting her head on the table in front of her. The woman was known as Shikako Nara, head of the Nara clan. No idea, Shikako-chan, but yeah, it's really rare for a council meeting to be arranged in the arena's meeting room, said a robust, red-haired woman known as Choko Akamichi, head of the Akamichi clan. Oh, I think you will find a nice little surprise once this meeting had ended, Shikako-chan, said Sume, who just entered the room to hear that part of the conversation along with Naruto, who was holding her hand. Seeing him, both women smiled and went to greet the boy. Naruto-kun, have you been eating well? Hi, Choko-san, responded the boy while he was being hugged by the woman, and he could only smile. Naruto-kun, so nice to see you. How have you been? Asked a blonde-haired woman with a loving smile on her face. Very well, Inoshi-san, said Naruto to the Yamanaka matriarch. All the people in the room were seated in a room, seated in tables somewhat close to each other, giving it the feeling of a classroom. After a while, all the clan heads and counselors stood while the Hokage entered the room. Once she was seated, all the people followed while Naruto seated on Sun's lap, drawing jealous looks from most of the other clan heads. Now I call in order this meeting. I know that a lot of you have questions about the nature of this meeting, but first I need to know how many of you are aware of the recent events that involved Naruto-kun here. After seeing that none of the clan heads, for the exception of Sume, knew what she was talking about, she told them that how Naruto escaped and how he got lost and was attacked. After reassuring them that Naruto was okay, the clan heads returned to their seats, having leapt from them to examine the boy. After that, the Hokage told them that they found that Naruto was saved by a man. This man is here today because after his actions to save Naruto-kun, I have learned some interesting things about him. First of all, he's not from this land. He's not from the elemental nations altogether. Also, he has some peculiar skills that he's confident enough to test against some of our elite kunoichis, so I have decided to test him, and should he pass, I'll allow him to form part of Konoha's forces. Are you sure this is really necessary, Hokage-sama? Spoke in a calm tone a black-haired woman, the matriarch of the Uchiha clan, Makoto Uchiha. It's as much as I owe the young man for saving Naruto-kun from Kami knows what those men could have done to Naruto-kun, said the Hokage, letting the women know that this is something that was going to happen no matter their opinion. Now please Inu-san, can you call Ragnell-san in? She said to one of the Anbu hidden in the room. A swirl of leaves was the only thing that indicated someone was standing in the back of the room. A moment later a young man entered through the door, however what he was wearing looked a lot different to what the Hokage and Sume had seen him wear before. On his chest where before was a breastplate that covered his entire torso up until his waist now was another one. But this one only covered half of his torso and was a bright shining golden color instead of the dirty orange. It had shoulder protectors making his shoulders look broader. He was wearing a white shirt underneath the piece of armor. On his back where before was a brown mantle made of some kind of leather, now was a cape blue on the outside and white on the inside. It looked to be made of some kind of exotic fabric and was decorated with odd symbols that none of the women could recognize. On his legs were no more the armored pants that he wore. Instead he was wearing plain black jeans with high black leather boots and on his hands plain brown leather gloves. His shield and hammer were nowhere to be seen, noted the Hokage. Good evening ladies. My name is Ragnell Dawnbreaker, said the man taking a slight bow. It is a pleasure to meet you all, he said with a smile. None of the kunoichis were impressed by the man. He didn't look like a warrior at all in the eyes of the kunoichis and they couldn't feel any kind of power from him. Psst Hiromi, is he someone you know? His eyes kinda look like one of your clan, murmured Inoshi to a woman with long black hair and white eyes. She was the head of the Hyuga clan. That's not someone I know, Insohi-san, I will admit. That his eyes look somewhat like the Byakugan, but I can clearly see that he has no chakra network at all. Also you know that the males can't inherit the Byakugan, she responded back with a serious tone while still looking at Ragnell with her eyes activated. Now Ragnell-san and I have talked a little about the reasons of his visit to Konoha and he has expressed his desire to stay in the town. I also became aware that he is the grandson of a friend that I held very close to my heart. So I decided to give him a chance should he be able to pass the test. We have a lot of matters to discuss, so please let's not delay this anymore. After saying this the Hokage along with the rest of the people of the room who went to sit in the spectator seats of the arena while Ragnell stood in the middle of it. Now Ragnell-san, you may not be aware of this but the ninja arts are composed of several branches. Now we are going to test your skills by pitting you against some of the best specialists in some of the branches and see how you do against them. The first one you will be fighting against will be our taijutsu specialist Mike Gao. As soon as the Hokage said this a woman with short black hair, big eyes and eyebrows wearing a green spandex suit entered the gates of the arena. Yosh. It seemed like I will be your first opponent today Ragnell-san, said Gao to Ragnell in a sweet and energetic voice. Know this Ragnell-san, the Hokage told me to not go easy on you even though you are a man, so be prepared to face the beautiful green beast of Konoha. Gao-san, I will be offended if you went easy on me. I will try my best, so I expect my opponent to do the same in return, said Ragnell with a smile. Your flames of youth burns brightly Ragnell-san, let us fight, said Gao while the rest of the kunoichi just sweat dropped at the kunoichi's antics. Now Ragnell-san, are you ready to start? Asked the Hokage. Just a moment Lady Hokage. Armor change tech. Assault armor. The voice of Ragnell took an echoing tone while he was engulfed in a bright light for a moment. When the light faded most of the kunoichis looked impressed. The armor in his chest had extended to cover all of his body in the same golden metal. There was no place in his body uncovered by his armor from the neck down. The gloves and boots that he wore before also were replaced by the golden armor. He had short spikes sprouting from his shoulders, elbows and knees. On his chest and forearms were more of the symbols that the kunoichis had noticed on his cape, which had disappeared. After this he crossed his left arm on his chest and raised his right arm. Wordlessly a flame swirled on his left and a lightning struck his right. From the flame the shield from before appeared, but it looked like the rest of his armor, and from the lightning his hammer that also had the golden shade. Ready whenever you are, said Ragnell after his little display. Okay, just to remember this is just a test. If I tell you to stop both of you will do it at once, is that clear? After a nod from both of them the Hokage gave the signal for them to start. Just as the Hokage gave the signal Ragnell with an extraordinary amount of speed launched himself at Gao, trying to sweep her legs with her hammer. His speed surprised Gal briefly, so she jumped to avoid the hit. Ragnar was still mid-swing as he saw Gal jumped. So he tried to punch her with the edge of his shield. Gal saw the move and blocked by crossing her arms. The blow sent her backwards, but with a simple flip she landed gracefully. Gal could only smile briefly at his opponent, and both of them jumped at each other to trade blows. How the hell is he so fast? I mean, not just because he's a man. He's wearing a suit of armor that must weigh a ton. She said as she couldn't believe what she was seeing. The other clan heads could only stare in silent wonder at the battle before them. Gal was getting a little irritated. Even while she wasn't at her max speed, most of her blows had been either dodged or blocked by the shield. She had managed to get a couple of blows on the man. He hadn't even flinched, and he kept trying to counter-attack. Just as Gal had tried a right hook, Ragnar blocked it with his shield and jerked it in the opposite direction, making an opening in Gal's defense for a second in which he brought his hammer up to strike Gal right in the chin. The blow threw Gal on the floor, but she quickly stood and took her stance. Gal was still a little disoriented by the blow but kept on fighting. This pattern continued for a while. Gal delivered blow after blow to Ragnar while he just dodged, blocked, and if he got hit just brushed it off as nothing. Then after finding an opening, Ragnar struck her with his hammer. She got up and started all over again. After a while the Hokage signaled them to stop. Both fighters, breathing heavily, smiled at each other. "I'm really impressed, Ragnar-san," said Gal with a smile. Both fighters just smiled, gave a bow in respect to each other, and Gal left the arena. "Next we have our ninjutsu specialist. Inu-san, could you please enter the arena?" said the Hokage, motioning to an Anbu with a dog mask. The Anbu wordlessly entered the arena and stood in front of Ragnar. The Hokage then gave the signal to start. "Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu," said the Anbu after making some hand seals, firing at Ragnar. Ju just stood in place, not bothering to even raise his shield. The flames collided directly against him, creating an explosion. After the flames faded, Ragnar remained in the same position as if nothing had happened. Not even bothering to stop and ask questions, the Anbu made more hand seals and put her hands on the ground. "Doden. Doryuden no Jutsu." From the ground sprouted the head of a dragon made of earth that opened its mouth, and multiple rocks shot from his mouth. Seeing the incoming projectiles, Ragnar raised his shield to block them. After the dragon crumbled, Ragnar pointed at the Anbu with his hammer and with echoing voice just said, "Stay put." A brief light shone under the Anbu's feet and Ragnar started running towards her. The Anbu saw him coming and went to dodge, just to discover that the earth around her feet had somehow melted and that she couldn't move. Ragnar took a swing of his hammer to hit the Anbu, who used a kawarimi to get out of the way of the hammer. Ragnar was very surprised to see he had hit a log and that the girl was nowhere to be seen. He started looking for her when he noticed her standing near some pond that was in the arena, going through hand seals. "Sweden. Swiryuden no Jutsu," said the Anbu while a huge dragon made of water raised from the pond and headed towards Ragnar, whose eyes almost bulged out of his sockets looking at the dragon. Thinking quickly, he crouched and put his shield in front of him and said, "Shield tech, burning sun." His shield got covered by a bright light just as the water dragon collided against it. A gigantic column of steam rose from Ragnar's position. After it dispersed, it revealed him looking a little soaked but otherwise fine. Ragnar threw his hammer at the Anbu, who just dodged the hunk of metal. Seeing that the hammer landed close to the woman, Ragnar said, "Mjolnir's blessing." Blink. As soon as Ragnar ended the phrase, a crack of lightning hit the hammer and he appeared over it, next to the Anbu, who was caught off guard. A man had performed something like a shunshin. Taking the chance, Ragnar drew his right hand that was covering in a bright light and yelled, "Dawn Bringer," and punched the kunoichi square in the chest. When it made contact with the kunoichi, flames bursted from his fist and sent the Anbu flying until she hit one of the walls of the arena, where she slumped and didn't move anymore. Ragnar moved and went to see if she was okay. He gave a sigh of relief when she looked to be breathing. After the Hokage declared Ragnar the winner, he used his healed tech on the Anbu, who immediately reacted, confused at what had just happened. "Now that is really impressive," said Shikako to the other clan heads. "It's not every day that someone defeats Inu. Never mind that she got defeated by a man. I admit that if I was in her position, I probably would have lost as well. I would have never expected a man knowing the technique that allowed him to change positions so quickly, and that technique that he used to finish her looked very powerful as well." said Sume, causing the other women to give a nod at her statement. Now Ragnell-san, said the Hokage, for the last part of the test we would like you to fight against our genjutsu specialist. Kurenai Yuhi, please enter the arena. A woman with long black hair and red eyes entered the arena. She was wearing the standard Chunin uniform. The Hokage gave the signal to start. As soon as the Hokage gave the signal, Kurenai went through hand seals. Megan. Jubaku Satsu, said Kurenai, while Ragnell kept his guard up for anything that could happen. After a while still nothing happened and the people in the room started murmuring. Kurenai tried a bunch of genjutsus against Ragnell, but none of them appeared to have any effect on him. After thinking about it for a moment, the Hokage stood. Kurenai-san, please stop. I think I might be able to explain why none of your genjutsu are affecting Ragnell-san. As all of you know, a genjutsu is performed by altering the chakra in the brain of the target. However, Ragnell-san here has no chakra to manipulate, hence no effect. But Hokage-sama, he definitively was using techniques against Inu-san, said Choco. So the Hokage briefly explained how Ragnell had mana instead of chakra and how it was something entirely different. While that theory seems plausible, Hokage-sama, most of our kunoichis can use genjutsu against bandits, robbers and other kinds of male enemies, and it works just fine, said Shikako, making the other clan heads nod in affirmation to the woman's point. I'm aware of that, Shikako-san, but none of those men could use the energy that Ragnell-san can use. It seems like we need to investigate this further. But at the moment we'll return to the meeting room and discuss Ragnell-san performance. Now Ragnell-san, please return to the waiting room while we discuss this matter, said the Hokage, while she and the clan heads stood and walked out of the arena. Now after this amazing performance from Ragnell-san, said the Hokage to the clan heads who were once again seated in the arena's meeting room. Naruto was not there. The Hokage had asked one of her Anbu to take him to the playgrounds since they were going to discuss matters that he couldn't know at the moment, namely the Kyuubi. I would like to know your opinions about the skills that he displayed to us today. Well, before anything, Hokage-sama, said Shikako, standing to speak. As you explained to us before, Ragnell-san here doesn't use chakra in his techniques, so he is not a ninja. Then Ragnell-san, exactly what kind of warrior are you? As I had said to the Lady Hokage before, Shikako. Shikako-san, my kind were known as the Guardian class. But I'm from the branch of the Einherjar, so you may say I'm a Einherjar Guardian. And in which area do you specialize in? Continued Shikako with her questions. Well, Shikako-san, the Guardian class in general is a frontline class. We have an incredible amount of resistance, allowing us to absorb big amounts of damage without even noticing it, and our techs are largely used for either supporting our allies or disabling our enemies so that our teammates can finish the job. So from where you work in teams too, Ragnell-san, said a woman with short hair and dark glasses who was wearing a high-collar jacket known as Chibi Aburame. Yes, that would be correct. The party system was used always when the kingdom required a mission to be completed. Very rarely missions were done solo. The parties were formed by groups of 3 to 4 people. The protocol said that the party always needed 1 tank and 1 supportive class. Since we the Guardians enter in the tank category, I most of the time was selected for missions. I admit curiosity to the armor you are wearing, Ragnell-san. We all saw how you changed this armor to the you used in the fights. Is this the same armor you were wearing when you came to Konoha? Asked Sume to Ragnell, since he had changed his armor once again to the one with the short breastplate with the blue cape. Oh yes, Sume-san, this is the same armor but with 3 different shapes that you have seen. The one in which you saw me yesterday was my armor in travel mode. It has a dull color to not call too much attention, and the mantle is brown to cover myself in it and blend with my surroundings if I don't want to be noticed. It gives a fair amount of protection while being very light, so as the name suggests is the best armor for traveling long distances. Now this armor I'm wearing right now is what I call my casual armor. It is an armor with poor protections, but it's only used in meetings and places where you know there will not be any fights. It's just to cause a good impression. And the armor you saw I was using during the fights was my assault armor, as the name of the tech I used suggested. It's a balanced armor. It gives me equal amount of power, defense and speed. It's an armor mode I use when I don't know the abilities of my opponent. I have some more modes, but I don't think it's necessary to explain them right now. Ragnell-san, I would like you to explain the first technique that you used against Inu-san. My Byakugan only detected how the ground around Inu-san melted for a moment. Said Hiromi. Oh, that was my solar flare tech. Before I entered into the Einherjar branch I was a solar guardian. Warriors that use the power of the sun to shine upon the darkness of the evil. That was one of the solar branch techs. It's pretty much what you said. It melts the ground around the target's feet, causing it to be unable to move for a moment. I didn't expect her to be able to teleport out of it, however. So that technique that you used with your hammer when you teleported next to it was an Einherjar technique? Asked Shikako to Ragnell, who just gave a shake of his head. No, Shikako-san, as a matter of fact I didn't used any Einherjar techs in the fights before. The blink tech was something my grandfather invented with his extensive knowledge in runes. He used to tell me how he was trying to arrange the runes in a way so that the hammer returned to the owner's hand, but he got that effect instead. He liked the uses that it had, so he kept it in the rune array when he crafted the hammers, explained Ragnell with a chuckle, remembering the story. So should we assume that the technique you used to stop Inu's Suiryuden and the one you used to finish her were also solar techniques? Asked the Hokage, interested in Ragnell's explanation. That would be correct, Lady Hokage. Although my burning sun is a shield tech, so as it suggests it can only be used with a shield, but a solarite shield is better for its use. Solarite? What's that? That's the metal that my armor, shield and hammer is made of. It's a special metal that increases the effectiveness of solar techs. It's also really resistant to high temperatures, making the wearer invulnerable to fire. So that's how you evaded Inu's Gokakyu? Asked Choco to Ragnell, who just gave a positive nod to respond the woman's question. Would it be possible to get a hold of more solarite? Even in small amounts, ninjas equipped with some kind of gear that makes them impervious to Kaiden jutsus would be very good for our forces. I'm sorry, Lady Hokage, but that's not possible. The armor, shield and hammer are given to you after the oath to the sun. If the three items appear to you in the ceremony, it means that your oath has been accepted and you are pronounced as an official solar guardian. Even if you somehow got hold of pure solarite, it would not matter. The heat resistance is so high that the solarite can't be melted in any known way. The Hokage looked disappointed at this but said nothing, understanding that Ragnell could do nothing about it. Well, now that we have seen a part of what Ragnell-san can do, I dare say most of you, if not all, agree with me that he would be a great asset to have among our forces and that he must be included in them. Any opinions against Ragnell-san joining us? Asked the Hokage to all the clan heads. None of the women said anything against it. Now Ragnell-san, I would say that you have low Junin level of taijutsu. You only used a few techniques in your ninjutsu test, but you demonstrated that you could use them offensively and defensively, and it seemed that you are unaffected by genjutsus, but you aren't capable of doing them. Is this correct, Ragnell-san? As I understood your explanation of genjutsus, Lady Hokage, that would be correct. None of my techniques allows me to create any kind of illusions. That's a kind of ability used by the mage or even the assassin classes. Responded Ragnell to the Hokage's question. Due to this, I don't know in what rank I can classify you. I don't even know if I can classify you as a shinobi at all. Well, back in Rune Midgard I was paladin rank. You see, Lady Hokage, the command chain was like this. First were the novices, people in training who were just learning how to use their mana. Then were the squires, they were those that had a good handle of their mana and were already training in the use of the basic guardian techs. Then were the knights, who were people that went to learn techs of a specialized branch, the solar branch in my case, and lastly the paladins. The paladins were people that had an extraordinary situation and because of it could access to training in a legendary branch, the Einherjar branch in my case. So what situation did you face to gain legendary training, Ragnell-san? Asked Shikako. Well, ma'am, I did something that earned me a ticket to the Valhalla, the Hall of the Fallen Warriors. Regularly, once you entered Valhalla, you're stuck in there until Ragnarok comes, but my action allowed me to get training and then return to Rune Midgard. But what exactly you did to enter this place? I'm sorry, but I was sworn to secrecy about that. If I said what I did and someone else tried to do it, it will most likely cost the life of whoever tried, said Ragnell in a tone that let the women know that he will say nothing else. So in our registry you will be classified as a guardian of paladin rank, however that will mean that you have no rank over the Junin of the village, so you will be on Chunin level in the command ladder. This can be revisited later on once we see how Ragnell-san performs in missions. Any objections? Asked the Hokage to the clan heads. None of them objected the decision. Now that we are finished with this matter, we have another one that requires our attention, and it has to do not only with Ragnar-san here but also with Naruto-kun. That's the reason he was here, to see Ragnar-san fight, but isn't in this part of the meeting. Once the Hokage said Naruto, she had the full attention of the women. It appears that Naruto-kun has the ability to use mana, the very same energy that Ragnar-san has showed us today, and he told me in a chat we had earlier that he wants to be a warrior like Ragnar. You are not possibly thinking about letting him train, are you, Hokage-sama? Was one of the many shouts going across the room. Once she managed to calm them down, she continued. You must think about this. If Naruto-kun manages to become a guardian like Ragnar-san, not only we will gain a valuable asset to our forces, but also we can be more relaxed knowing that Naruto-kun can defend himself in the case of another attack on him. Or I don't think I need to remember you the amount of threats we have received from Iwat to deliver Naruto-kun just because they want vengeance on his parents. With him training, we'll know that he can defend himself if they try to send any assassins. The Hokage tried to reason with the women, and while they could see the reason behind the Hokage's words, Naruto-san like a son to all of them, having raised him since he was but a little baby. The Hokage then retold them the talk he had with Naruto that morning, how he said that he wanted to protect the village like his parents and how he wanted them to be proud of he. It was a low blow to guilt trip them, but it was worth in the Hokage's opinion. There's also one more reason I want to see Naruto training. Ragnar-san was able to tell that Naruto-kun had the Kyuubi inside of him just by looking at him, and he told me how he had encountered beings of the Biju nature, and he said that Naruto can absorb it and we can get rid of the Kyuubi forever, continued the Hokage, which just started another round of discussions between the women. Ragnar then proceeded to tell them about his beholder eyes, the ancient apparitions, and how he used an array of rune seals to absorb Fenrir in himself. So you want to train Naruto-kun to be an Einherjar like yourself, Ragnar-san? Asked Choco, making him shake his head. Einherjar training must be earned and I can't teach it, only an Acer can do it. I want to train Naruto to be a solar guardian like I used to be, explained Ragnar. After a couple of hours of discussion, the pros outweighed the cons of training Naruto, and it was decided that Ragnar could train Naruto not before making him swear an oath and threatening him with castration, decapitation and lots of other colorful things should something happen to Naruto. The Hokage then announced the meeting was over and Sume went to the playgrounds to search Naruto since he was still under her care, and Ragnar followed close behind. One of the topics of the meeting was the place where Ragnars would live. The clan heads decided that whoever was in care of Naruto had to give a place to Ragnar too so that he could train Naruto easily. At least that was the official statement, but what the women really wanted was to keep an eye close on him so that nothing bad happened to Naruto. Since then Ragnar started to train Naruto in the mornings. While in the evenings he went either to the library or to the academy to start learning about chakra. At the start of the training Ragnar learned that thanks to the clan heads Naruto was a smart boy. The boy knew how to read and knew basic maths. He was also learning to cook and was well-mannered but was a little brash sometimes and liked to play pranks on people. He also learned that the boy had no idea how to fight, had no survival skills or any other skill that could help him in a battle. Ragnar had suspected it, but after a while it became clear to him that the clan heads were grooming Naruto to become a house husband to one of their daughters. However, Ragnar saw this in a positive light, saying that this meant he was not tainted by a ninja style and that he could start with a clean slate. Ragnar started by teaching Naruto to meditate to help him unlock his mana. After he managed to unlock it, he taught him a tech to cast a flame in his finger. Naruto called it the lighter tech, much to Ragnar's amusement. This was to help Naruto spend his mana and start increasing his reserves. After some incidents in which Naruto almost burned a house with the little flame, Ragnar decided to start with the physical exercises. Ragnar entered to the garden of the Hyuga compound, which were in the charge of Naruto's care for the next days. When he entered, he saw Naruto playing with a girl with short black hair that he recognized from a previous meeting. "Hello Naruto-kun," Hinata-san said Ragnar to the kids who waved at him with a smile. "Today I have something for you, Naruto-kun." "Really, Ragnar-sensei?" asked Naruto, as he had decided to call him since the start of their training. "What is it? Where is it?" "Is in my inventory room. Let me get it out for you," said Ragnar while he put a hand over his brown leather leather glove there was some sparks of light and Ragnar said ta-da what he had in his hand made Naruto give him a deadpan look. What's that supposed to be sensei, said Naruto looking at the object. It was a chest plate but it was completely made of what looked like brown wood. Well, this is your first training armor Naruto-kun, said Ragnar to Naruto, who pouted a little. But I wanted a cool and shiny armor like yours, sensei, said the boy while Ragnar laughed. And you will have it in due time, but first your body must become used to wearing armor, and since the solarite is so dense it weighs a lot compared to other materials. If you don't train your body, just the chest plate could crush your bones. Now stop whining and put it on, said Ragnar to the boy while handling him the wooden armor. Naruto took it but it almost fell from his hands. With some effort he managed to raise it and put it on. The armor covered only his chest and stomach until the waist. His arms were not covered and his neck was visible. Hinata was giggling a little while looking at him and Naruto shot a glare at her. She put a hand on her mouth but she only managed to giggle more. It is really heavy, said the boy with a little effort in his voice. See? Now imagine the weight of a metal one. And that's only the first piece. You still need the helm, the shoulder pads, the bracers, the gloves, the boots and the leg guards. Then add to that the weight of the shield and your hammer. For now with that will be enough, but as soon as you get used to that weight we'll start adding more pieces. Now you're not allowed to remove your armor under any situation including sleeping. You can only remove it to take a bath. When Ragnar said this, Naruto's eyes bulged out of his head, knowing that his training was only going to get harder from now on. It has passed a couple of months since Naruto started training with Ragnar. Now besides the chest plate, Naruto was covered from head to toe in some sort of wooden gear. In his head was a wooden cap that covered his head, hiding his hair. His forearms and shin were also covered by wood pieces. On his back was a buckler, also made of wood, and on his right hand he was carrying what looked like a wooden mallet that was too big for him. Ragnar had worked with him a lot on his physical endurance, and while his young body didn't show any signs of it, he was stronger than before. Ragnar had also changed a little the boy's diet. While the clan heads kept the boy eating a healthy and balanced diet, not to mention his obsession with ramen, he needed a bigger protein and calorie intake to increase the effectiveness of the training. So Naruto was eating a lot more than he used to, except when he was in the Akamichi's care. His food while in there was pretty much the same, if not more. Now we find Naruto, Kiba and his puppy Akamaru. Even if Kiba wasn't supposed to become a ninja, the male Inuzukas got a dog partner to protect them. They were going to the roof of the Hokage Tower where they were supposed to meet Ragnar. After a couple of weeks in Naruto's training, Kiba asked to be trained too. His mother told him that he couldn't train with them because he didn't have energy like Naruto. Ragnar told her that while the boy didn't have mana, he showed signs of being able to use psych energy. Ragnar then explained to Sume that the psych energy was a mental energy, and since Kiba was more bronze than brains, it was not as powerful as it could be, but that he could work with it. After a lot of convincing from Naruto and Kiba, and another council meeting, Ragnar promised to train Kiba too after he got in contact with someone he knew. Today was the day that he was going to reach his contact. After a brief chat with the Hokage, who came along with the boys, they reached the top of the tower. Ragnar-sensei, are you here? Yelled Naruto, looking for the man. Over here, Naruto-kun, responded Ragnar, waving at them standing in front of a weird box that had a hole with a screen in it. Very interesting thing you have there, Ragnar-san, may I ask what is it, said the Hokage while the boys looked curiously at the box. As you know, Lady Hokage, I had promised Kiba-kun here that I will start training him once I made contact with some people I know. This is a homemade transmitter that hopefully will let me make contact with them. Now did you do what I asked? Naruto-kun asked Ragnar to Naruto, who nodded and handed him two blue glowing crystals. You never explained me what were those, sensei. I worked really hard to make them glow like that too. This Naruto are mana crystals. These are made from a mineral that can store large amounts of mana. They have a couple of uses. The drawers can store mana in them and draw it out of the crystals later if needed, or like we are going to use them today, they can power certain mechanisms. I knew it would take me some time to build this transmitter, so I figured that in the meanwhile you could charge them and it would help you build your reserves. Now I only need to put them here and it will be all set. Then Ragnar got behind the box and opened it. The Hokage and the boys heard a clicking sound and he closed the box again. Here we go, cross your fingers. Ragnar pressed a button on the box. The screen then showed a lot of sparks and started to make sounds. The Hokage was remembered of the static in the radios. Looking at the screen, the man started to press buttons on a board in front of the box. Let us see, the frequency was this and coordinates like this. I hope this works. A few moments later a blurry image appeared on the box. It looked like a woman with black hair and glasses. Please identify yourself and state the reason of your transmission. The woman talked in a language that neither the Hokage nor the boys could understand. Courtney is Ragnell. Do you copy me? Ragnell responded back to the woman in the same language, which surprised them. Lord Ragnell, is that you? From where are you transmitting? The signal is so poor and weak. I am currently in the elemental nations to the south of the continent. I constructed a homemade transmitter, but I had to replace a lot of the circuits with runes, and I am powering it directly with mana crystals, which may have affected the quality of the signal. I also don't know how long the runes will last. You never stop amazing me. Lord Ragnell, do you still have that supply beacon with you? I think I do. I have it sealed in one of my runes. If my memory serves me well, then please set it up once you do. The woman couldn't finish her sentence as the transmitter made a loud noise from the inside and smoke started raising from it. Oh shit. Water, I need water, said Ragnell to the Hokage, but he was still talking in the same language as before. She looked at Ragnell, who was freaking out, but she guessed what he wanted and used a small sweetened jutsu on the box that was catching on fire. Thanks Lady Hokage, said Ragnell, sighing in relief and talking once again in Japanese. While the materials on the box were not important, these are my last mana crystals. If I lose them, who knows how long it would take me to get more. So, can you train me now, Ragnell-san? Asked Kiba, excited at Ragnell, who gave a shake of his head. I still don't know, Kiba-san. It looks like the runes couldn't take the strain and the transmitter exploded before I could get to that. However, Courtney asked me to set up my supply beacon, if we are lucky, trailed off Ragnell as he put a hand over his glove, and after a spark of light he was holding several pieces of wood with odd letters in them. Now let's see. Ah, here it is, said Ragnell while looking at one of the pieces in victory. Ragnell put the piece of wood on the floor and with his glove he put a hand over it and a large spark of light erupted from it. After the sparks dissipated, a large machine stood on the floor. It looked like a platform, but on one of the sides it had a board with buttons like the one that Ragnell was using on the transmitter. Ragnell then went to the wet and smoking transmitter and after giving a yell of victory ripped the top of the box, revealing a bunch of wires. Then he put the mana crystals and connected the beacon to it. Won't this machine explode too if you use that again, Ragnell-san? Asked the Hokage. Hopefully it will not, since I am using only the energy converter. I only need to power the beacon up and send the distress signal. What I'm hoping for is that Courtney remembers my beacon and she will send me a real transmitter. The Ragnell pressed some buttons on the board. A few minutes later a ray of light from the sky covered the platform of the beacon. After the light disappeared, a box like the one Ragnell made but neater looking and a bunch of other stuff was on the platform. Yes. Now we are talking. A good transmitter, an energy conversion unit and a wide-range antenna. Now let's get this set up. The Hokage and the boys only watched curiously as Ragnell set up the machine. After a while he finished and turned on the machine. It showed a bunch of symbols and Ragnell pressed buttons on another board. After a few moments the face of the woman showed up and Ragnell could see her much more clearly. It seems that you received the package, Lord Ragnell. Once again they started talking in that unknown language. After a chat, Ragnell explained the woman how he had found a boy that could use psych energy but that he had no idea in which area he could train the boy. He also gave her an estimate of the psych power that the boy had. It's very odd that you found an psych user in the South Continent, Lord Ragnell. But anyway, if you think the boy can be trained, you know you have the full consent of the association to do so. As for the boy training area, you know I can give him a psychological test to see which area would suit him better. So you want to talk with the boy? Yes, if that's possible. Also in private. You know how this kind of evaluation goes? Okay. I will tell him. Also you should set your babble engine to Japanese when you talk to him. They talk that here. Noted. I assume you will contact me later when everything is ready. After saying goodbye, Ragnell turned off the machine and turned to Kiba and talked normally once again. Well, Kiba-san, it seems that there will be no problems to start your training. However, Courtney wanted to ask you a couple of questions before we begin, said Kiba to the boy, who looked happy and surprised. That lady that was talking with you wants to speak with me. Yes, Kiba-san, it's only a couple of questions to decide which kind of training will suit you better. Ragnell then resealed all the machines in his runes and they returned to the Inuzuka compound where he set them up again. Once he did, Ragnell called Courtney once again and Kiba talked with her in Japanese, much to Kiba's relief. After a couple of hours, Kiba called Ragnell saying that Courtney wanted to speak with him. He went to the room where they set the transmitter. So how did he do, asked Ragnell to Courtney, and she smiled a little. He is a good boy, not the brightest blub in the box, but he is still young, nothing that can be fixed. And what about his training? Oh, he is definitively an infiltrator, bronze over brains. Prefers close-up encounters and using his senses to fight. I also met that puppy of his. With a little bit of training he will be a very good companion. Wow, an infiltrator? You realize I can't make heads or tails of that, right? And also he will need a lot of items. Yes, you don't worry about that, Lord Ragnell. I will trust you with his CQC training, but I'll have one of our agents train him in the use of his psych and the gadgets over the transmitter if that's possible. That would be perfect, Courtney, thank you very much. I'll just talk it with the boy's mother and tomorrow we'll set the schedules. After finishing the conversation, Ragnell he went to find Kiba, who was with Sume and Naruto. So Kiba-san, I finished my talk with Courtney and it seems like you're an infiltrator. That sounds so cool, Kiba. What's an infiltrator, Ragnell-sensei? Asked Naruto, who made the adults chuckle with his question. Well, Naruto-kun, an infiltrator is, as the name suggests, an expert in infiltration and espionage. They are able to pass security systems and guards undetected to assassinate or take information from a facility. They are able to either fight people up close and personal or demolish buildings with their different skills. Is an area that requires high stealth and precision and the body endurance to fight and take out targets if noticed. That sounds a lot like a ninja, Ragnell-san, said Sume, and Ragnell nodded at her. Yes, most assassin classes, which the infiltrator comes in, are like the ninjas. Also, Courtney told me that you may be able to train Akamaru to work in a team with you, Kiba-san. If you are not against it, Sume-san. Does Akamaru have psych energy too? Asked Sume to him, who just shook his head. No, Akamaru has chakra energy. I have noticed that male animals can have it, although I don't know why is that. How are you going to train Akamaru then? Asked Sume. The infiltrator dogs doesn't require to use any energy. Just a couple of gadgets and learn some orders and they are ready. Explained Ragnell to the woman, who nodded understanding. You know that I want to supervise what my son is going low, learn right. That should not be a problem, Sume-san. If you wish, tomorrow you can speak with Courtney and ask her if you have any doubt about Kiba's training. Ragnell said, making Sume feel a little relaxed. A couple of months passed since the start of Kiba's training. It was hard for the boy to unlock his psyche, but once he did, things flowed smoothly for him. Naruto's training was also going good. He was still wearing the wooden armor since his body wasn't used to it at the moment, but he was learning some techs from Ragnell. Now both boys were on a training ground along with Ragnell, Sume and the Hokage. The boys were going to have a spar and the women wanted to see the fruits of their training. Naruto was wearing his wood armor while Kiba was wearing a long-sleeved black skin-tight shirt and camouflaged pants with a black bandana with Konoha's symbol sewed on it. Akamaru was at his side. The puppy was wearing what looked like a flak jacket with many pockets, and in one of them a combat knife was stored. Okay boys, remember, don't do anything too messy. Repairing the ground is too expensive. As soon as Ragnell gave the signal, Kiba launched at Naruto. He gave him a couple of punches while he blocked with his shield. The strength of Kiba's punches added to the weight of his own armor made Naruto unable to counter-attack. However, he was making a very good job at blocking his strikes. Kiba saw that he was getting nowhere, so he leapt back and raised a hand in the air to show he was holding a ball of bright light. He then brought his hand down and smashed the ball of light on the ground, where it exploded and released a flash of light that made everyone cover his eyes. What was that, Ragnell-san? Said the Hokage, who was also affected by the attack. That lady Hokage was a flashbang, one of the infiltrators' grenade techniques. They gather photons in a sphere that they throw to make a diversion, explained Ragnell to the Hokage. Once Kiba saw that Naruto was blinded by the flashbang, he re-engaged Naruto in the fight. Shield tech. Defender, yelled Naruto as he still was seeing blurry. His shield took a golden glow, and as Kiba was going to take a hit on Naruto's uncovered face, a replica of his shield but made of light protected him. Kiba kept trying to score hits on him, but the shield replica kept appearing when he wasn't capable of blocking. Akamaru had also started charging at Naruto, but his attacks were also met by the glowing shield. Naruto then started swinging his mallet at Kiba, but he dodged the attacks very easily since Naruto still hadn't started developing his speed. Naruto had already figured a certain path in Kiba's attacks, so he knew his next attack was a straight heavy punch, so he put his shield in front of him and as the punch came he called, "Shield Tech." Reflect. The effect was seen as soon as the fist met the glowing shield. Kiba was seen flying backwards as if he was hit. "What was that about, Ragnell-san?" asked Sume at Ragnell, who explained her, "The defender technique creates a shield of light that protects you against attacks that you can't see or block yourself in time. However, it only takes a set amount of hits to disappear and it doesn't block elemental spells, so I assume it doesn't work with jutsus neither. The reflect tech creates an aura around the user's shield, and if the shield is hit it returns the hit back to the opponent with the double of the strength. However, it only lasts one hit and it cancels other shield auras, which means Naruto is about to get hit." They saw as Kiba recovered from the reflected hit and jumped at Naruto with a wild haymaker aimed at his head, which he managed to block with his shield. But what he did not saw was Akamaru coming from behind and tackling him in the legs at the same time, which made him lose balance and so he fell flat on his back. "It seems that this round goes to Kiba-san," said Ragnell to the boys while Kiba just grinned and Naruto was still trying to get up from the ground. "I don't think it's fair that he has help and I don't," said Naruto once he managed to stand, referring to Akamaru. "Well, Naruto-kun, since you're expected to be in the front line in a fight, sometimes you must fight against multiple opponents, so you need to get used to it. But as you may have noticed, you lack the speed necessary to keep up with Kiba's attacks and return with your own. You were mainly on the defensive the whole time, so you know what we are going to work on next. And your training seemed to be going pretty good, Kiba-san," said Ragnell to the boys, and he noticed that Naruto looked a little upset that he lost the fight. "What's wrong, Naruto-kun?" asked Ragnell to the boy once they were returning to the Yamanaka compound where Naruto was staying for the week. "It's just that I couldn't do nothing against Kiba. I just stood there and took the punches and I couldn't even touch him with my hammer," said the boy while looking at the ground. Ragnell could see that the boy was disappointed. "That's nothing to worry about, Naruto-kun. Kiba is training in one of the assassin classes, so he's going to be always naturally faster than you. It doesn't matter, since once your training starts kicking off you are going to be stronger and more bulky. So even if he manages to hit you it will not do anything to you, and then you can use one of the many techs to finish the match. It's just a matter of training hard and working hard, so don't be sad, Naruto-kun." After talking with Ragnell, Naruto felt a little better, but still losing wasn't a good feeling in his book, so he vowed to train harder so that he could beat Kiba in the next spar. Thanks for watching, guys.